Hey, Alstamura, welcome. Hope you had a good vacation. Where did you go? Or what did you do? Oh, nice. On the coast. I'm glad you got a chance to go visit. I haven't been down to the Spanish coast. I've been to Spain twice. Once to Seville. And that was a long time ago. And then I spent a week in the outskirts of Madrid. But never did make it down to the coast. I hear it's beautiful. Hey, Rudy, welcome. Yeah, we didn't get anything here. My family in Georgia was, just a little bit. They didn't have thankfully, any bad effects over there. So, thankful for that. Welcome, everyone, to today's live stream. Episode number 25 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Honor Mode gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. And hey, Tord, welcome to the stream as well. Thanks for being here. Solo, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So, no admin notes this week other than just another reminder. Not this week, I'm starting tomorrow, which would be next week technically, is going to be the last week of our Paladin and our Bard live streams. It's been an incredible ride through both of them. The Bard live stream actually started in early access, and then about 4 weeks later or 5 weeks later when the full version came out, I spent a few days replaying everything I had already played in the full version, and we continued it. So those two live streams have been going for well over a year now, and I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you to everyone who has been around for those live streams and supported the channel through them. It is a bit bittersweet seeing them come to an end. They've been a big part of what I do on a weekly basis for a while now. But I think they both have very satisfactory outcomes. They're both very different from each other in the choices that were made, and I think that ended up being a very, very good thing to illustrate between the two streams. But this week will be the final episodes of both of those. Tomorrow will be the final episode of the Paladin live stream, and then Wednesday you will see the ending of the Bard live stream. And after that, I'm going to take a little break from the additional live streams. I had mentioned it before. This live stream will obviously continue. We still have a lot of content to go through here in Honor Mode. But those two live streams will be at an end, and I won't immediately start anything new. I'm going to take a little bit of a time off and kind of rest and recuperate a little bit. And at the same time, I'm going to put up a poll on the community tab as well as on social media for all of you to give your inputs on what you would like to see me play. Now, I've mentioned it before, Dragon Age Veilguard is coming out near the end of October, supposedly still, and I want to take a look at that and see if it's going to be something I want to live stream or not. So that's another reason for me taking a break, in that there will be some time for me to experiment with other games in the meantime, take y'all's input, but at the same time leave at least an open spot somewhere for Dragon Age if it turns out to be something that I want to stream. So we'll kind of take it easy for a little bit, play it by ear. I might do a couple of unannounced or surprise streams during that for various things, but we'll kind of see how things go during this little break here. But we are definitely going to come back with at least one additional live stream. I would probably prefer to keep a second weekend live stream and drop the Wednesday evening in my time live stream. I know that's harder for my European viewers to be able to catch. And then, since it is NFL football season, as I always do, I would like to move that live stream to today, to Saturday, so that normally what I do is stream 3 hours here in the morning. I take an hour break so I can grab some lunch, and then I come back and I stream for another 3 hours. And then after the NFL football season ends, I move that stream back to the regular time that you see it Sundays. That allows me time during my weekend instead of using up my entire Saturday. So I think that's the plan for right now. The only thing up in the air is what game we're going to play. So pay attention to notices on the community tab for posts and on social media, and we'll figure out together what we want to take a look at. So on our recap, last week we had done a few things around the western side of the River Keonthar, basically dealing with all of the ancillary encounters in the town of Wraithwind. And we've opened up the map entirely over there. Then we went into Moonrise and we did a couple of other things in Moonrise for some exploration. Today we're going to deal with the major encounter pre-invasion of Moonrise Towers, which is releasing the prisoners from prison in the basement of Moonrise Towers. So let's go ahead and jump in here and we'll talk a little bit more about it. Hey, Lord Henry, welcome. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously interested in the game. I know the last game didn't get great reviews. I really didn't care. I love that game. So I'm definitely going to play it. I'm not one of those streamers who just streams a game because it's popular. That's not what I do. If I don't feel I can stream good content out of it, then I won't do it. So I need to experiment with it a little bit and see if I can make engaging content out of it for all of you. And if I can, then I absolutely will, because I'm going to be playing it. There's absolutely no doubt I'm going to be playing it, so it doesn't make any sense that I wouldn't stream it if I feel we can get good content out of it. But we'll, like I say, we'll kind of leave that up in the air for now and kind of see how it goes. So here we are back at the waypoint at Moonrise. If you take a look at my inventories have been entirely cleaned up, but you notice I have trash bags. I went around, like I said I was going to do, and I looted everything that you are able to pick up in the first floor of Moonrise Towers, in the western side, or in the town of Wraithwind, and in the Last Light Inn. So everything that is possible to be picked up that is worth its weight. I didn't pick up cauldrons. I never pick up cauldrons just because they weigh something like 20 pounds and they're worth 1 gold. But everything else, including the basement of Last Light Inn, I have picked up. So we're going to start off here first by heading in and selling all of that. We don't have any short rests left. Okay, we don't have our Song of Rest. We don't have any short rests left to be able to take.
I'd love to, thanks.
And you can see that we're desperately short on action economy on some of our characters. We don't have any rage charges left. Shadowheart's out of upper level spells. We've only got 2 key points left here.
Still in control.
And I've only got 2 bardic inspirations. So we're gonna head here into Moonrise and we're gonna sell all of this stuff off. Then we're going to head to camp and take a long rest. We're going to do a respec on Astarion while we're there. And then we're going to come back here and head to the prison. So let's get rid of our shapeshift and talk to Lantarv here.
I want to have a word.
The Absolute's war drums beat loud in your chest. How may I serve?
Okay, so he's got 2,000 gold here. we've looked through Land's inventory before. Clothes of the Duelist are a decent item to have, especially if you have that dueling single-handed type of build, which my Bard is, and you need to be able to hit difficult targets, which we are going to have in the prison. So I'd like to pick those up. The Halberd of Vigilance is really, really nice. I don't have a build that suits it necessarily. As far as the rest goes, there's nothing else here I'm interested in. There is one other item that I want to pick up, but we'll take a look at that here in a second. So let's go through and empty out all of our trash. Now, looking through this is all trash. There's additional things like thieves' tools and disarm kits. I don't need to carry a bunch of those. I normally carry 5 thieves' tools and 3 trap disarm kits. These things are actually heavy, so I don't like carrying them around. Their carry weight, or their weight actually decreased. They used to weigh a pound a piece, and now they weigh 0.2 pounds a piece, I think. But they're still heavy, and I don't need to carry the additional ones. Torches, there are some additional armors that we don't need. Other than that, it's just garbage. There is nothing in here that we need, and it's just random stuff that's been picked up. So let's go ahead and drag all this over, and we will see. And this is just a Dark Justiciar mask. There are like 5 of them that we picked up. So, garbage. Just trash. I cannot, in honor mode especially. In balance mode, you definitely don't need it. In tactician mode, it's kind of iffy, but in honor mode, I can't stress enough the value of garbage. I'm at 1176 gold. There's not nearly enough gold to be able to purchase everything I wanted here, let alone all of the stuff that I'm going to have to purchase in Act 3. The only way to make up that difference is by picking up garbage. And if you're going to be searching the boxes anyway, instead of closing the dialog box when it comes up with rotten food in it, just click Take All. It's the same action. It doesn't cost you any additional time. And you gain a bunch of stuff. Now, picking up items off of tables and off of the floor and that sort of stuff does take additional time. However, it is more than worth it to be able to do. Okay, and you're seeing the results of that here. Okay, so this is why you pick all those items up. I still have another trash bag full of items that we're going to take a look at here in a second, but that got me the gloves. You know, didn't have to do anything but pick up garbage to get them. And I am going to actually pick up the 2 arrows of many targets while I'm here. And I don't think there's anything else that we want from Lantarf. We've gotten all of his inventory taken care of. The Harmonium Halberd, Halberd Vigilance, I'm not worried about, and there's another reason for that you will see a little bit later.
Slaughter well, true soul.
So let's go over here to Roa.
Ever at your service.
And there's something else I forgot to do. I always forget to do it. I can up my persuasion by 1 more.
Ever at your service.
So that gets me up to plus 10 on my persuasion. So a full 100% discount here. on these. So go to Baldur. She doesn't have nearly as much. She's got 934 gold. So, and again, looking through this, just garbage. Okay. And I forgot the Grey Scout's journal. I can't get rid of. Okay, so 1,423 gold. So that was somewhere around 3,300 gold in garbage that I have picked up. So we're going to pick up another potion of invisibility here. Always want to pick those up. Don't need the elemental slaying arrows. Don't need the blooded great axe. The Naramisser is nice. It's expensive, and I'd prefer to hold on to that gold for now. And these are just regular +1 items. The Armor of Devotion I'm not going to pick up for getting back 1 channel oath charge, which is the only thing that this really does. That's just way too expensive. There's just no point. There really isn't a benefit for it. The Scale Mail +2, again, not needed. The Sharpened Snare Cuirass is situationally nice, but not anything that I'm really interested in. The Poisoner's Ring for Virulent Venom. Once per long rest, being able to make a target vulnerable to poison damage for 10 turns. There is a use for it, and it's actually going to become a little more useful than you would expect with something I'm going to pick up. But I'll get it just to have it, but I don't think it's necessary. But for 60 gold, it's not that big a deal. The Ring of Spiteful Thunder can be very useful for the Shadowheart build that we have right now. If she deals thunder damage to a reverberating creature, it becomes dazed. Dazed removes dexterity bonuses to armor class, which can make targets much easier to hit. They also have disadvantage on some other things because of the condition, but it can be very useful as well. The Gloves of Crushing are a straight increase in bonus damage to your unarmed attacks, which seems great. However, the 2 bludgeoning damage is less than the average damage of 1d4. The average damage of 1d4 is 2.5. So the additional 2 bludgeoning damage here doesn't make up for 1d4 fire damage or 1d4 necrotic damage or anything like that. It falls a little short. However, if you do need an additional +1 bonus to attack rolls, you can get it. However, we're Tavern Brawler based. Tavern Brawler gets a huge bonus to attack rolls because of adding their strength modifier to it. So it's not really necessary that I pick these up. So I'm not going to be getting them. I am going to get the Poisoner's Ring and the Ring of Spiteful Thunder here. And those items paid for themselves, basically.
An honor, Trousseau.
So now we're going to head to our camp. We're going to take a long rest here.
You'll be too much of a handful one day, but not yet.
And let's have some conversations.
I-F. Or is it an E? Is it even a letter? What damn language is this? What are you doing? Wait, I'm sorry. You caught me by surprise, that's all. I've been tracing the scars on my back with my fingers, trying to read them by touch. But I can't. They may as well be written in Rashimi. This isn't your problem, you know. Fine.
You can't read the text carved into his flesh, but you recognize the script. Any warlock would. It's infernal, the language of the hells.
And? What does it say? What in the hells? What did he do to me? I have absolutely no idea. But it's no poem. 2 centuries carrying this. And I can finally see it. No. I could have missed it, of course, but I doubt it. Cazador was only figuratively hellish. There were never any devils hanging about the crypt. Whatever he's left carved in my flesh, it's a mystery to me. Thank you, by the way. This is... well, it's something. Will we? How sweet.
Okay, so we're learning more about the runes on Astarion's back.
So, the untouchable Karlak is untouchable no more. I'd shake her hand, but she can still snap me in two, so, probably safest to skip it.
Okay, nothing else there.
Poor Karlak. She can finally seek out the touch of another, only to be told she might not have much time left. Very serious of you, but go ahead. Well, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't been dwelling on becoming a Dark Justiciar. Perhaps seeing the power of Shah unleashed on that land is keeping the thought in my mind. But don't worry. I still have plenty of room for you in both mind and heart. On one hand, they seem useful. But on the other hand, or perhaps tentacle before long, we know where they're coming from, and what lies at the end of that path. I never expected Ceramorphosis to be tempting. I think we should resist these powers. There's simply too many unknowns for us to risk it. Well, perhaps you have a point. Fine. Let's explore these powers then. I just hope we don't come to regret it.
We won't. Though I still have speak with animals.
Hello. You are not food. You are friend. Nice here. The caves smell like rotting meat. Goblin coat smells like goblins. Yes, fun. Ooh, more.
Gotta go, buddy.
If death is soon to take Karlak, She should make every moment as rich as the last. Fight viciously, roar loudly, step boldly. She must make herself known.
Okay, Will.
The shadows are cruel. It would take a miracle for Arabella's mother and father to survive them. Well, lucky for us, we've got a knack for miracles. Let's reunite the girl with her mother and father. She deserves that much. Because there's nothing to tell. She died when I was born. As a boy, my bond with father was too deep to miss the mother I never had. Now, well, I'd be lying if I said I'd never thought about my mother. What life would have been like if she'd lived. Maybe I'd be living in the city. Maybe I'd never have been forced into this cursed pact. But there's no use lingering on maybes. My mind is on the stories of today and tomorrow, not those of yesterday. A blushing apple begging to be plucked. He wants more than her loyalty. He wants her soul. She's stubborn, yes. Bold as a lamb cavorting in a lion's den. But as ambitious as she is, Mole's no fool. One way or another, she'll see there's no winning Raphael's game, and she'll walk away. Then Raphael collects another trophy, and Mole sells her independence to the Hells. You've seen what happens when a bound soul reaches for freedom. I can't imagine what cruel penance Mole would pay if she were ever to resist that fell bastard.
Mole is going to play out over a while here.
Hope you're keeping well, friend.
Hey, soldier. Like I got something back. Something I've wanted for a really long time. When I touched you, I felt like a real person. My heart was racing, but I didn't hurt you. I don't have to be afraid of myself anymore. I don't have to hold back. Not sure the world's ready for unleashed Karlach, but it's getting it anyway. Thanks to Dammon. Thanks to you. Thanks to fate. Me too, soldier. Gods, me too. For every knock we take, I feel like I get a little treat just to keep me going. Touch! Touch everything! Touch everyone that'll let me. Shake hands, dance a waltz, maybe even kiss a face or two if I find a good candidate. The world's my funhouse. Ugh, I don't want to think about that now. Misery always overstays its welcome, and joy leaves too soon. I'll cry later, but not now.
Okay, check one more time.
Soldier. You saw the extent of Flo's friendship. She'll lend you a hand, long as she can crush your spirit while she's at it. I knew never to let my guard down around her. She always made me laugh, even when I least wanted to. If she'd been completely different from who she was, we might have been real friends. Thank the gods. And I do, every day.
Alright. So, Minthara?
I am concerned for Karlach. She is strong, but even her courage may falter now that she knows how little time remains to her. Then that is what we must do. She is a fierce ally, and has survived great torments and challenges already. We would be fortunate to have her with us until the end. I was the Absolute's dagger. I remember every throat that it held me to, and every drop of blood it forced me to spill. I take no responsibility for the lives I took. I did nothing in the Absolute's name. I was merely a weapon that it wielded.
Now, getting approval from Anthara is tricky. You have to adjust how you think about things.
You have my sympathy. The tadpole, the Absolute. They work together like a drug. I did not feel I was compelled to act against my will. I felt ecstatic to serve. Every action seemed a deliberate choice. The best choice. Even though I could no more have resisted its commands than flesh can resist decay. Even rational minds like ours cannot reject such a powerful influence. The Absolute can make the impossible seem inevitable. I fought at his side once, shortly after my conversion. Before the battle, he was everything a general should be. A charismatic leader with a brilliant strategic mind. And when the fighting began, he led his troops from the front and cut through the enemy like a scythe through stalks. Blows and arrows rained down on him, and before long, his face was a mask of blood. But he did not fall. He did not even falter. When we won the day, Ketheric's armor was bent and shattered, but his flesh was unmarked. I have lived long enough to know that few things are impossible in this world. Oh, Ketheric's power is a rare thing, though. I have never seen its like. The necromancer Balthazar is Ketheric's chief advisor. One who has mastery over the dead may well be able to help the living cheat it. We should ransack his chambers and see what secrets he keeps for the great general. I took up my oath long ago, when I swore bloody vengeance against any who defied Lolth. Now, I myself have sinned against the Spider Queen. Though my faith is shattered, my oath endures. I am sworn to destroy all those who serve the Absolute. It is not noble, it is necessary. If we do not destroy the cultists, they will destroy everything. We are all that stands between this world and annihilation. A disparate collection of vagabonds and strays. Did you have anyone particular in mind? She is tolerable, but her faith in the Lady of Loss is poisonous. The very concept of Sharan worship is self-indulgent. They would have you think every whispered word and hidden thought is of value, but it is not so. I have performed 1,000 interrogations, squeezing out the most guarded secrets held in heart, mind, and soul. I can tell you this. When the trivial parts have been whittled away and I have sifted through what remains, in most cases, a person amounts to nothing at all. He's been deprived of freedom and strong blood for so long that he is addicted to both. While those addictions have their hold on him, he is still a slave. No. He is well aware that I would exsanguinate him entirely if he flashed his fangs at me. And while you live, you'll be enslaved to your appetites and hungers. We all feed on something, and if we are deprived of it, we will fight for it. But Astarion is not only bound to his needs and desires, he is still bound to something more powerful. His master, he will only be free when Cazador is dead. And that is as it should be. When the time comes, we must hope that he does not only take Cazador's long life, but the power that has sustained him as well.
You're getting fascinating insights into not just Minthara and the character she's talking about, but philosophy and life in general, as to what Menzoberranzan culture and the Drow culture is like.
I have encountered few Githyanki in my life. Those that I did were raiders. They croaked out pleas for mercy in their alien tongue as they died. Meeting Lae'zel makes me wish I knew more of their culture. I did. She told me that she has nothing to teach that cannot be learned through observation of her prowess in combat. Perhaps she is right. She certainly cuts a striking figure in battle. There is a precision to her ferocity that I admire. To one who only sees the surface of things, perhaps. You should look deeper. In spite of her youth, there is a patience and precision in Lae'zel's thoughts and actions that I admire. Those qualities will strengthen as she matures. The wizard? No. Their mastery of the weave is commendable, but they are poor conversationalists. In my experience, they do not usually live long enough to make the effort of befriending them worthwhile. Either the enemy recognizes they are a threat and kills them swiftly, or their curiosity leads them to combust while experimenting with the limits of magic. Our wizard is already in a state of suspended combustion, thanks to that orb between his ribs. I suspect it is only a matter of time before he goes up in smoke. I will reserve my social graces for those who might live long enough to appreciate them. He is exceedingly self-righteous. Amusing, considering he bound himself to a devil. Will doesn't just have blood and dirt on his hands. He has stains on his soul. Those last more than a lifetime. It is as it should be. Purity of soul and deed will not help us to survive the Absolute. I would rather be allied with a warlock than the spoiled son of a noble who has more experience with diplomats than devils. I have never known anyone so ferocious and unassailable in battle, and yet so fragile and impermanent in their very being. I often think of mortality as a curse. In time, all that I am and all that I have known and learned will be lost. In time, our cities will be dust. Karlach does not seem to have such anxieties. Perhaps because she cannot afford to. She exists in the moment, and she will burn out and be gone in a moment. There is something very beautiful about that.
Okay, so really some great dialogue from Minthara there.
You wish to consult me?
And that last part is always amazing to me. There's a great line from a song, it's better to burn out than fade away. And that seems to be what she's saying about Karlach.
I know well the pain of seeing your life's hourglass running empty. Grasping at any means of slowing the grains as they slip inexorably through your fingers. Karlach's fate may be ordained, but her actions are not. She will make each breath count. You can be sure of that.
Okay, so this is going to be difficult.
Thou hast now a bosom companion. Recall that in time.
Careful, I bind.
Actually, don't know if I can do it here. I might need to move out of Moonrise. Yeah, I think I will.
What's going on?
I'll take my long rest here, and then I'll move out of
find a way
Moonrise to do
forward.
the respec. I don't want to be in detection cones when I'm trying to hide or anything like that to do a respec with withers. So let's go ahead and go to bed. We might get a cutscene here.
So, you found the seat of the Absolute's power. And what a power it is. I don't know how much longer I can resist it. Catherick Thorm is clearly important. But I wonder if there's more to it than that. It just doesn't stop. We are being bombarded by waves of telepathic energy. Wave after wave with hardly a breath between them. I almost dare not rest. Each wave a set of orders to the infected. The order for your transformation has been given many times already. Yes, but the orders are oddly erratic. As if the Absolute cannot make up its mind. I don't fully understand. In any case, the Absolute knows you carry me with you now. It wants to retrieve me. I am the only one who can resist the Absolute's influence. Hence its fear of me. It's desperation. Unfortunately, that also means it is dedicating more and more resources to my retrieval. The task ahead is monumental. But we're all that stands between victory for the Absolute and freedom for all. This is not just about you and I anymore. It has become far bigger than us. You must infiltrate Moonrise Towers, discover the secrets of the Absolute, and put an end to it. So we can finally be free. Now I must rest. And you must carry on. Do not let my efforts be in vain.
Okay, so let's just look around real quick. Make sure nobody has any exclamation points. Doesn't look like they do. So let's go head to Last Light.
This place gives me the creeps.
And we're gonna go back to camp real quick. Yeah, and this is obviously a different layout for camp than where we were. And in this one, the Withers has some open space behind him that's not covered by a detection cone. This is going to allow me to go into hiding.
No.
Well, as soon as they finish talking.
You're no fun.
No.
What do you get up to all day without us?
Just like old times. Like candy from a gnome. Some mild larceny. Pleasant.
Oh, come on.
A quick profit.
Thank you. Alright. And now Astarion is going to do his respec. Right now, we're level 4 rogue, level 4 monk. We don't want to be. The only reason we took the 4th level in rogue was to get our feat. We have 2 feats right now. We are going to sacrifice one of those feats to gain a much bigger increase in combat power. We're going to sacrifice alert here, but you'll see kind of how this works when I go through this.
Thou walkest alone. On all these harsh nights, thou hast sought no company. Love is no domain of mine, but it is often cited as the purpose of mortal life. Wherefore turnst thou from it? And thus thou art alone. Fate, dost thou require a new as thou desire?
So we're gonna start off like we had previously. Our abilities and everything we had set previously. Our skills, these are all still fine. We want to make sure that we have acrobatics here for what is coming. Now, I would go and normally stay in stealth for this, but specifically for what is coming, I want the additional, or actually I take that back. I don't want acrobatics, I want athletics. I want the additional 2 points in athletics. This is going to be very important for something that's coming up, and I want to make sure that we have those additional 2 points. That's an additional 10% on the skill roll for athletics, and I want to make sure that we have that.
Can I touch your face?
But there will be another respec to get rid of that at some point later to go back to stealth. So this gets us our bonus actions. Level 3 is where it's important because we get our subclass. And that subclass is going to be Thief, of course, so that we get our second bonus action. And now we add in Monk for our 4th level. And this is going to allow us to be level 5 Monk, level 3 Rogue, and you're going to see the benefit, the 2 main benefits that that's going to get us here in a little bit. So this unlocks our Flurry of Blows, also all of our key points, our dexterous attacks, death strikes, the additional bonus action for unarmed strikes. This gets us additional movement speed when we're not wearing armor. We unlock our dashes for bonus actions and that sort of stuff that we also got from Rogue. It also opens up patient defense. Level 3 is the first big one, where we get to change to Way of the Open Hand. Now, this gets us our Topple, Stagger, and Push Flurry of Blows, which are all very, very useful. We are going to be making a change for a couple of specific things to add in Way of the Shadow. The ability later on with Way of the Shadow to teleport around the battlefield in darkness is going to be very useful for a couple of encounters, but for now, Way of the Open Hand is the way that we're going to go. Okay, at level 4, we get slow fall, so we've got resistance to falling damage, and we get our feet. Now here, obviously, we're going to start off with Tavern Brawler. We're going to up our Constitution to 16. So, because Tavern Brawler does apply to unarmed attacks, so we add our Strength modifier twice to the damage and the attack rolls. So we have an additional bonus to our attack rolls. Now with an 8 Strength, we're obviously missing, we're -1. But that's not where we're going to be because we use elixirs. And then level 5 is very important for us for 2 reasons. The first, we get an extra attack. Extra attack is always incredibly useful for a monk. With the thief subclass in Rogue, however, it is extraordinarily important, and we'll look at that here in a little bit. The next is we get Stunning Strike. Now, Stunning Strike is just OP. In tabletop, it's incredibly overpowered. But what it basically allows you to do is, 1, make a target skip their turn. The stun lasts for 1 turn, and only 1 turn, so it does not last for a long time. So you don't want to use Stunning Strike when you're getting a surprise round, because in a surprise round they're going to skip their turn anyway. But Stunning Strike on subsequent rounds, Stunning Strike is going to first allow them to make them just skip their turn, which is incredibly useful. However, a stunned target obviously can't take actions, bonus actions, or reactions, and that sort of stuff. The reactions there is also important, because if they're stunned, then they can't use legendary actions against you. So against certain boss enemies, if you can stun them, then they can't use legendary actions against follow-up attacks that are made. And that allows you to avoid a load of damage when you're fighting against certain enemies. Okay, so like I say, we're going to see a little bit more about how the extra attack for a monk works and how it synergizes with this additional bonus action that we have. So we'll see that here in a little bit, but for now, we're going to head back to Moonrise Towers. Let's go ahead and get everybody buffed up. Okay, so now we need Shadowheart to put on the Drakethroat Glaive. And we're going to use Elemental Weapon, Cold, on my Bard. The reasoning for that is that Karlach does not get the additional cold damage on throwing actions for the returning pike. She gets it on melee attacks, but we don't use her that way. So the additional damage, I don't want to forsake that additional damage. And now with Shadowheart, we're going to use the Shield of Devotion to cast Aid.
Everything is clear.
Okay, and now last.
Keep your distance, darling.
Astarian's going to take an elixir of Hill Giant Strength.
Looking ahead.
Okay, and now we are ready to go. So let's head in here, and we're going to head down to the basement. We haven't really explored much of Moonrise here, but before we go doing a bunch of explorations around here, we want to head down and take care of a major plot point, because there's something at Last Light Inn that we want to do, and we don't want to do it until after we've freed the prisoners. So we'll head down into the prisons here.
Let's see what this does.
And here we're familiar with this room. This is where we rescued Minthara. We didn't do any searching while we're down here, and there's a bunch of stuff again down here that once we've cleared this out, I will again off stream pick up all the garbage that's down here. Just to orient ourselves some more, this door leads you out to the docks. We can come around the corner here and you can get an idea of some other things. This area down here we're going to be exploring in a little bit. There's this centralized tower here in the middle. You can jump out to these various platforms and make your way all the way around the back of this area. We do have some patrolling guards and a couple of scrying eyes. And we have some cells up here. And here are the Tieflings. Now, you can talk to the Tieflings if you'd like here. However, the guards are not going to like that. And you'll be questioned about it. You have an empty cell here. And then the cell here in the middle has Wulbren in it. Again, we know who Wulbren is. We've been looking for him for a long time because of our conversations with Barkus. We have another empty cell here. And then all the way around the corner. Again, full circle. All the way around. Now, the enemies that are down here. So, the adepts here are clerics. Okay, and they are powerful clerics that have some additional things that they can do. First, they all have Death Ward. So you have to kill them twice, basically, so keep that in mind. But second, they can also cast spells that are normally outside the realm of clerics. And that's because they're law-sworn drow. They can cast Hunger of Hadar, which is extraordinarily annoying when you're dealing with it on the battlefield. All of the zealots are paladins, and they are level 8. Some of them are more dangerous than others. Nadi here is especially dangerous because he's a half-orc. So he has all of the half-orc racial abilities that go in with rolling damage and, again, having to kill him twice. They're all great weapon master type paladins, and they all have a really high armor class. They all have 18 armor class, which makes them fairly difficult to hit. So utilizing things that might sacrifice a bit of your armor class to make them a bit easier to hit down here is probably something that you want to look at. And that's why I got the Gloves of the Duelist here. Okay, because now I'm up to a plus 11 to hit. So why does that go up? Proficiency bonus. Oh, and nothing in your free hand. I forgot about that. That's my fault. Yeah, this is actually dueling, not the dueling like you get from the fighting style. So yeah, you have to use this only with an empty hand. I've got a shield in here, and that would be sacrificing a little bit more armor class than what I'm willing to. But yeah, that's my fault. I didn't read that well enough. I didn't remember it well enough. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring everybody back here. Okay, now here, I'm going to put everybody in hiding. I'm going to break my group. I'm going to take Astarion out here. Now, important ways to go about this here. Right now, my athletics checks are plus 11. I'm going to wait for the Scrying Eye to get close. I'm going to go into turn-based mode. That should stop the Adept over here when they get close, so that they're not in sight range of you. I actually need to be a little bit farther out here, so I'm not in sight range of the Paladin down here. Because the Scrying Eyes are a problem. If they alert the people upstairs, then you can potentially make all of Moonrise hostile. We obviously want to avoid that, and there's only really one way that you can damage them, and that's with thunder damage. Everything else they are resistant to, both regular and magical damage. So, or they're just flat immune to it. So it's really hard. With only 11 hit points, you'd be surprised how hard it is to actually kill a Scrying Eye. Okay? If you have thunder damage, that's nice and all, but it's hard to cast a spell down here like Thunder Wave or Shatter and not be seen. Okay, so what we're going to do instead is throw. Okay, and you can find spots where you can throw the Scrying Eye and it will die. Just like there. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that we will stay out of combat here, but there are 2 Scrying Eyes down here, and this is going to eliminate one of them. If we get brought into combat, then we get brought into combat. It is what it is. But a lot of times you can do this without being noticed. But you have to pass an athletics check to do it. Okay, and that's why I put those additional 2 points into athletics. And now our turn's ended. Now we're just gonna wait around for a little bit. We're actually gonna move back down here. Because the Scrying Eye is inside the tower now. But when it comes back out, we have to watch for the patrolling Adept, and there it is. It's going to come back my way. And I'm going to meet it down here.
Roland better be all right.
It's Roland. He's probably holed up somewhere, planning to burst in, spells ablaze.
Okay, and again, the Adept.
I bloody hope not.
Once they get close, within range, they're going to stop. The turn-based mode is going to stop them. Here, I don't have any detection cones. Okay, so again, let's throw, and we have an option here for death. Okay, that is by far the easiest way to rid yourself of the problem of the Scrying Eyes. When they first come into combat, they will call for reinforcements, and you have 1 turn to kill them. If you don't, then you're going to anger people upstairs. And like I say, that can make things quite a bit more difficult here in Moonrise than you want them to be. now we can fight down here in the basement to our heart's content. But I don't want to start these fights with Astarion anymore, because Astarion does not have alert. I do. So I want to start my fights with my bard. Until I level up and get access to a second feat, which what we will do is when we level up again, we will take another level in Rogue just to get alert back. And then we will wait until we get enough to get up to the next feat in Monk before we transition out of that extra Rogue level. So what I'm going to do here is wait for her to turn, and I'm going to go into turn-based mode. Okay. And from here, I'm going to start attacks into Adept Karis. My goal here is that Astarion can stun Zealot Nadi and keep him from attacking while we finish off the Adept here. That's the goal anyway. We will see how well this works. And to start it off, I'm going to start off with a Slashing Flourish ranged here.
You're being arrested for assault. Judging by the look on this guard's face, you're getting off lightly.
Okay, so I rolled high. Actually, they turned. I should have moved out here to do that attack. But luckily, we rolled well on initiative. That was a mistake on my part. So let's go ahead and continue this now. And the first thing we're going to do with Karlach is Frenzy. I'm going to eat a raspberry here because this does not take an action. And it will give me Dipped in Poison. Now again, I don't know if Dipped in Poison is going to apply to a throwing attack or not. I wanted to test it and see. But we're going to have Karlach focus on the Zealot as well.
Good idea, Karlach.
Okay, so it does not apply. And again, that's kind of what I figured. It's much like the additional cold damage. That your additional damage riders on a weapon do not apply to throwing. The caustic damage does, because it says weapon attacks, not just weapons. So now we'll throw again. He is by far the most dangerous of the two. I don't want to give Adept Karis a turn if I can avoid it.
Come on, can't stay idle.
So now for me, I'm going to get Hex out here.
What should I do?
Let's have some
Okay,
company.
so for Astarion, I need to focus all of my damage on Zealot Nadi here. Now again, with his armor class, for instance, with Shadowheart, she's got a 45% chance of a melee hit. Tavern Brawler on Astarion, I'm getting a +5 to hit because of Tavern Brawler. So that's why you want to, and Karlach, because of her throw, is getting the same thing with Tavern Brawler. So that's why you want to use these two to focus on Zealot Nadi. So let's illustrate how the extra attack and the Thief extra bonus action works. I don't need to stun Naughty here. At 34 hit points, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to kill him without needing to use any of my additional actions. I'm going to start off with a normal unarmed attack. That gives me my unarmed strike bonus action. Okay, that's going to kill him. Now I have an additional attack here. My extra attack. And now that opens up another unarmed strike with a second bonus action. Your primary attack opens up the unarmed strike. So now I have 4 full damage unarmed attacks every round that do not use key points. I can use these 4 attacks over and over and over again. Now if I take something like a potion of speed or haste, I can up that even more because of the additional strikes that I get. If I add in something like an elixir of bloodlust, I can keep doing this over and over and over again. So that's how these things synergize with each other, is now I'm no longer reliant on key points. I can save my key points for when I need to topple or push or stun somebody. And I can just deal out a bunch of damage other ways. Okay, now we're going to get an attack here. It's probably going to be Hunger of Hadar, is my guess, and she's probably going to cast it somewhere in here, so it puts all 3 of these people in the Hunger, but we'll see what happens. Because I don't think I can create enough. You know what I can do? Well, Astarion's almost out of movement.
Need to act fast.
I'm thinking, because I know something else that I could do here, but just not sure I want to use the action economy for it. I guess it doesn't really matter. 32 hit points. So even with it, it's still not going to work, but okay, so it's not far enough. To push her back. What are her saving throws? She's got a really high wisdom saving throw. So I think I'll just deal out the damage. Yeah, it's not enough. Let's get everybody close to her. This way, if she does cast it, she's not casting it on herself. So, let's see if we can get everybody close to her.
Very well.
Got to keep fighting.
I've got this.
Moving.
Let's finish this.
So that was the lesser of two evils here, because now as soon as she dies, the Guardian of Faith is going to go away. I just need to make sure that I'm not getting a retaliation here. Okay, so there is her death ward that just procced. And there's the end of that. Okay, so these two are now gone. And I can put on the periaptive wound closure here. And take a single potion of healing and get that back. Okay, so down here, we're going to search all of these, but the zealots are particularly important because they all have plate armor. This sells for a lot of gold and is incredibly useful to have. So let's go ahead and move everybody down here.
I'll get us out of here, Cal. Even if I need to kill every bastard in this hell's pit.
I know.
And again, my bard is going to start things off.
Trust no one.
There is work to do.
Keep a blade close.
Must lug my guts through this hell. Don't waste a step.
Okay, and again with alert, what I'm trying to do here is actually drag the adept and not drag the two zealots. Where do I have to walk to get that? Okay, so let's actually move up here first. Turn the torch off. Okay, so I can do it without moving here. Okay. Nope.
This calls for careful footwork.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay. So now the adept is way down here. They're already hexed. So let me go up here and start dealing some damage. I'm actually going to come up here on this side.
Being
Oh, that's a
arrested
crit.
for assault. Judging by the look on this guard's face, you're getting off lightly.
Okay, so that hurt. So now let's get everybody else in here.
If this isn't important. Nice and easy.
He rolled really low on initiative too. He rolled a 3. Let's actually get Karlak
Sneak, sneak.
to throw first.
That's it.
Okay, so she rolled high.
This'll help.
Don't need to frenzy with her on this.
Time for a little death. You're mine.
That triggered death word. There we go. And now we get the most dangerous part of this, and that's dragging the two zealots, because you cannot get them one at a time. They both get dragged at the same time, and staying away from them while still causing damage to them is tricky, to say the least.
Ready or not?
All is ashen meat. Breathe deep and move.
Okay, so we're gonna again do the same thing. We're gonna attempt to... And I prefer not to move up that far.
Here we go.
Okay. See if we can move back just a little bit. Can I get the other one from there? Yeah, either way, I'm gonna have to move up a little bit.
You ought to be kind.
So let's get him.
To the prisoners, I mean.
That should work.
Anyone of
Okay. Alright. And again, oh, I did manage to drag one. How did I do that? I have never been able to do that. Well, that's incredibly nice. So let's not do any attacks. Let's just move back out of here. They'll dash. Okay, now we're going to dash. And get around the corner over here. And that's why you do that, is because they're almost always going to use Abjure Enemy. And that, for 2 turns, is you're going to be frightened, so you can't move. Okay? You've got disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. That's not the big deal, really. It's just the fact that you can't move. And now that you can't move, they're free to close the distance on you. Alright? So we need to do something about that. Oh, we need to go pick up Unseen Menace again.
We won't let them win. Not now, not ever.
And then we will throw it.
Easy.
Okay, so
I'm just waiting.
now we'll get Astarion in here, and
Secrecy above all.
actually, what I probably want to do here. No, we will get Astarion in here.
Silent as the grave.
Because we would like for him to skip his turn. Much is going to depend on how well this lands and where Astarion rolls in initiative. Because he's up in the belly of the beast right now. So if the stun doesn't work, then, and he rolls low on initiative, he's not going to get another attack. The Zealot here is going to smite him into oblivion. Okay, so we saved against the unarmed strike. So Astarion is probably going to have an issue here.
Need to keep focused.
But we can hopefully give him some minuses to hit by stacking some radiating orbs on him. with advantage, rolled an 8. So Astarion's going to have some problems here. Let's see if we can land Atasha's. I'll give up Hex. That's such a low percentage roll. But it's the only way to possibly avoid any damage. Against Astarion. And he's saved. So, nothing that we can do. We'll just see what happens here. Okay, there's 1. Okay, there's 2. Wow. Okay. Thank you. Well, let's see if, before I use that charge.
Time for it.
Roland better be alright. Bloody hope not. If he saves us, I'll never hear the end of it.
Okay. That was a little bit scary, not gonna lie.
Hey, good looking.
Because the divine smites,
Wits and
they
blades,
hurt.
always sharp.
We know how much they hurt. They hurt really bad. And Astarion doesn't have the highest armor class in the world. He's doing okay, but it's not the highest. So we got really, really lucky there. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm so tired. How do people do this all day?
Maybe I should... No. This is good. Don't want to draw any attention.
Okay, this will land Hex. Doesn't look like they're choosing to investigate. Which is fine. Because now that I've got it landed, my initial attack is going to do the bonus damage.
On my way.
So let's move up here and we'll start off with a slashing flourish ranged here. You can see the high armor class that they have. Also a disadvantage there. Now I'm good. And I didn't do slashing flourish. If you're gonna stand there and take it, I'm gonna let you. I'm not gonna argue with you. Okay, so now
Into the bloody fray.
let's head down. Probably gonna use Abjure Enemy here. Nope, just dashed. So we're going to dash. Now we're in the detection cones, so I do have a way in there.
Hey, good looking.
So let's get Karlak started off. Unseen Menace is still laying out there. I keep forgetting to go pick it up. I'll throw the returning pike.
Got it.
Okay, now that did not return to her because of the initiative order roll, but pretty sure I'm going to be able to take him out. That's famous last words. So let's get Astarion around behind him. And we're going to try and topple here. So we're going to start this a little unconventional. Perfect.
With haste.
All right, and now we have one more to deal with.
Nice. Up two.
And this one gets a little interesting. Okay, I'll say that. So we're gonna drag everybody back here to this side. We'll again put everybody in hiding.
The mission has
And
to
we're
come
trying
first.
to get people hidden behind this pillar. Ready. Kind of.
Out of sight.
And we're going to again start this
Swift as
with
my
my
feet can
part.
carry me.
First thing we'll do is open the door.
Better not be coming. Better be alright.
There are two enemies here. The first is the Warden. Okay, now you want to be careful with the Warden. You do not want to knock the Warden into any pits or anything like that. Second thing is up above us. You can barely see it. It will show up here occasionally. And I'm going to go into turn-based mode when I can see the Warden through the door. Okay, so I passed my stealth check. And I missed them both. Nice. Okay, so we rolled first, but you need to get a long way away from the Warden, or you need to be somewhere where you are not in her line of sight. So I'm going to try and move right here around behind the pillar. She went invisible. She went upstairs, I think. She did. Okay. I haven't seen that behavior before. The Scrying Eye is not in combat, but it is now hostile. I can see it. Okay, but it is not in combat, so let's stay here and see if she comes back. See if she comes back down. I don't like the fact that the Scrying Eye has become hostile. But I'm going to take a chance here. She's coming down. Okay. So she moved back down. She's right there. So I'm going to, again, skip my turn. she's coming out. Okay. Oof. That was a little scary. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. So we want her to be dragged all the way down here. So my goal here is to get as far down here as I can. And around behind these set of boxes. Okay. So that's really interesting. When she turned, she knocked them out of hiding, but they're not in combat. This whole encounter is going very, very strange. I am not going to lie. I don't know if moving him is going to bring him into combat or not. It didn't.
Let's keep to the shadows. They won't see me.
Okay. That was very, very weird. So, let's see if we can stun her. It's a con save. Her constitution, she's getting a +2 bonus to it. Wow. Whoops. There it is. Wow, I am just missing incredibly here. Rolled a 3 with advantage. I mean, come on. Oh. Okay, so now she's gonna skip her turn. It's brought everybody else into combat, but her turn gets skipped.
One day, I'll catch a break.
So I'm attacking with advantage here because she is stunned. So now I can cause bleeding. You see all the additional damage riders that got stacked up. So now we're bleeding, and that means everybody that's got Buwal's Benediction is going to have advantage on all attacks against her, which is Karlach and Astarion. So let's go ahead and just start throwing as much damage as we can here. Keep that bleed going. Okay, so she's now no longer stunned, but she's bleeding still, which means still have advantage on those attacks with everybody except for Shadowheart. So let's see if Astarion can finish her off here. One attack. And you're going to get the retaliation. She's going to use her reaction for Hellish Rebuke. There's nothing you can do about it. You just take it. 2. And 3.
How delicious.
So now we can do some searching here. Actually, we won't. We're going to take Astarion.
Step lightly.
Now that the Scrying Eye is hostile, this is going to be interesting.
Have you slept at all?
Have you?
Fair point. Like a wraith.
You see, I can see the detection cone here with the Scrying Eye. Okay, so it's not hostile anymore. That's perfect.
Go.
That's what we wanted to see. So again, we're going to wait here. We've got a couple of open windows. Okay, and these get a little tricky. A lot of times you have to come outside to find a death indicator. There's one right there. Perfect. Okay, and now while we're up here with Astarion,
I've got a long road ahead.
actually the key is down here. Prison key and the Moonrise Guards key. The reason you don't want to knock the Warden into the pits is because of the Spellcrux amulet. This is a really powerful amulet. It allows you to replenish any expended spell slot of any level. That's the important part there. There's no other potion, there's no elixir of arcane cultivation that allows you to recover a spell slot of any level. They max out at level 4. Here, this allows you to recover a level 6 spell slot if you so wanted. So it's incredibly useful to have it, so make sure you do not knock her into a pit. Now these chests up here I don't think respond to that key. They don't. So he's already got Cat's Grace, so I don't necessarily need the Thieves' Gloves.
Let's crack it open.
Okay, in here you're normally going to have some fairly decent potions. The Superior Healing's nice, the Oil of Bane is meh. And here we got fairly unlucky with them, but the Wyvern Toxin and the Purple Worm Toxin are fairly nice with the additional poison damage. So up here there's a bunch of stuff that we can take / steal. And again, we pick up everything in honor mode. Including the carrot. These, I think, unlock with the key. Yes, the evidence chests unlock with the key. And in here you get the Browbeaten Circlet. So you gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC while you're threatened. Where this really comes into play is actually with a character like my Bard. This allows you to get right up next to an enemy, like that Paladin, and while you're threatened, then you gain a +1 bonus to cast Tasha's or something like that. So it can be very, very useful. I'm going to put it... I'm not going to use it right now, but I definitely want to keep it. And we do have some trash sitting around here. And last, we have Wulbren's hammer. Now, you don't need Wulbren's hammer for this. You can throw any bludgeoning weapon into Wulbren's cell and he will use it. However, this has a special dialogue that goes along with it.
Step quick.
Okay, and now down here, again...
Don't touch me.
More options for searching and picking up stuff. Don't forget the paintings on the wall. This, again, the prison key opens it. You're always going to find these. These are scripted. So, superior and greater healing potions, always nice to have.
Don't mind if I do.
The prisoner log here, which talks about the fact that Wulbren's in here. And now you do not, and I can't emphasize this enough, you do not want to open their cells. You don't want to open their cells while there are people down here, because they will get into combat with them. However, you also don't want to release their cells because you do not want them trying to leave Moonrise by using the stairs down here, and which they certainly will do. There's another way for them to leave here, and it's a way that is completely safe, but it means that you cannot unlock their cells. This door should unlock with the prison key. Yes. We'll deal with this area here in a second. And now we can take the opportunity to go talk to some people. So now that there are no guards, let's go talk to the Tieflings.
Let's get going. What's up for discussion?
Let me guess. The Absolute is the only way. Don't bother. Why don't you and Zevlor take a long walk off a short cliff?
He made it? He's all right?
Told you. He's too stubborn to die.
If you're not at the Absolute's beck and call, why are you here?
Gnomes next door are up to something. They've been whispering like mad.
Whatever it is, we're in. Don't leave us in here.
Have this conversation first, because that will
Should mind my step.
have the gnomes here, who we're going to talk to next.
Nimble. Check for gaps, cracks, anything to leverage the rock. Nickels, tools. Get creative. This rock is basalt. It'll crack with enough pressure. Ah! Don't mind us, true soul. The back wall is weak. We're working to brace it.
That was the most unconvincing thing I've ever heard anybody say, ever.
Barkus is out here? Didn't think he had the stones. Well, if he sent you, you're no slave to the Absolute. You're a damn wolf among sheep, aren't you? I reckon you and I were meant to meet. I'm Wulbren. We've got a plan, for us and the Tieflings both. But we're scuppered without the right equipment. We need tools. That head case of a Warden robbed ours, but anything that breaks rock will do. Even if it's not Iron Hand quality. Whatever you find, throw it through the bars. But for the love of Gerdor, make sure a guard doesn't see you. Or we're both done for.
Okay, and if you look at our quest log, we're now learning more about the stuff here. We obviously chose to do this the safe way by clearing everybody out down here. You can have these conversations in turn-based mode in between when the patrolling guard and the scrying eyes come up, but you really just don't want to chance it at all while you're doing it. But for this, we need to give him his hammer back, and again, it doesn't have to be his hammer, but we'll give it to him.
Damn straight. Without me, everything will be for naught. Your feet fly fast, my friend. Any luck with those tools? Blessed Gerdul, I thought I'd never see it again. Thank you. The plan is to wait for a quiet moment, then bust out the back wall. We'll grab the Tieflings along the way. We'll need them if it comes to a fight. You, however, are the clincher. Once we move, keep the patrols busy. If the bastards spot us, all of bloody Moonrise will come down on us.
And that is very true. If you are spotted down here and the scrying eyes get off their call reinforcements, all of Moonrise will become hostile. And there's a special condition here with releasing them that causes that to happen. So you really, really don't want to do any of this until you've cleared out the prison itself.
We'll move once it's quiet. Until then, be ready.
Now here's where things can get a little buggy. So you want to watch and make sure that he goes through the wall, which he did. You want to kind of watch his... and make sure he turns to the right. Okay, he is. This used to be quite a bit more buggy than it is now. But he should come over here behind the Tieflings wall and break this wall down. And then he should head back toward the boat. Now, once everybody's in the tunnels back there, then you can come open the cells. And we're just going to head back here to meet up with them real quick. And I shouldn't have let them out before I went down here. Doggone it, I forgot about that. It's just some free trash. There's a bunch of clubs, short bows and stuff. They pick up some of them to arm themselves. And that means I can't pick them up. But let's talk to Wulbren. Actually, once this is done, he'll talk to me.
Boat's good to go. All that's left is to ship off. My plan for now is to hide out on the water. Unless you have a better idea. Safe? That's no small claim in these parts. Lead the damn way.
You drift through the dark until time, skill, or luck brings you to Last Light's dock.
Hold there! You can't just land and start unloading strangers. They're procedures, damn it! No one gets in without being tested. Commander Jaheira's orders. And they'll have it once we know they're free from infection. Here, form a line. Let's see if the Absolute's little pet recognizes any of you.
The Absolute's what? What are you doing?
If what you've said is true, no one has anything to fear. If not, well, we'll soon find out.
Everyone has to go through customs, I guess.
Now, form a line. I'll not ask again. That's
Do
it.
they have
This
anything
won't
to
take
declare, I guess, is the question. Yeah, Lord Henry Wulbren is a very easy character to dislike. Yeah. And you're going to see more reason to dislike him here in a little bit. You want to wait until this is done. You don't have to stand here and wait for it to be done. But the second part of this quest trigger doesn't happen until this is done. So right now, we need to speak to the Tieflings. We can't do that yet until they're done with their customs check here.
Don't be shy. Have a gander at the finest stuff.
And it does take a while. But I wish real customs was as fast. This is like 5 seconds per person.
Premium trinkets and doodahs.
Has he shown any sign of coming to his senses?
None. His wits have
Okay,
departed
maybe
him,
10
I
seconds.
fear.
Still a lot faster than usual. Once the last one is done, they're all going to take off.
And you're clear.
There you go.
Welcome to Last Light.
Now you can go talk to them. And we want to talk to 3 Tieflings. The same 3 that we talked to previously. Alfira, Bex. Have we not dealt with Roland yet? We might not have. Let's go see if we have. I honestly can't remember if we've done this encounter on this playthrough or not. I thought we had, but maybe we haven't. We have. Yeah, I thought I had Lord Henry on my personal playthrough, which I was playing a lot last night. I hadn't, and it surprised me, and I just honestly couldn't remember because I didn't see him listed down here in the Rescue the Tieflings thing here. Roland's not mentioned, so. But those are the 3 that we need to talk to. Alfira, Bex, and Roland. Oh, Bex is down here around the corner.
My God! That is... Oh, you're all right. You're all right. My God, you're all right.
Come here, darling.
I was so scared I'd lost you.
Me too. But we're here now. Safe.
Credit where it's due. Bex, this is the one who helped me and the others escape.
This isn't the first time you've helped us. Saved our lives, really. Why? You make it sound so easy. But I know the lengths you've gone to on our behalf. We'll never forget it. Never, ever. Here. Take these for the road. It's the least I can do.
And for that, we get Vex's homemade cookies. Nothing particularly special about them, but it's 30 free camp supplies. And they're cookies. I mean, come on. Who doesn't like cookies, right? Next, we're going to head into Last Light.
I wish we'd gear up and head out. All this standing around is making me antsy.
Got to have a plan first.
And here's Roland.
We weren't exactly on holiday, Roland.
Or you can walk all the way around the back and talk to him that way. That's fine.
Did you enjoy relaxing here while I battled that wretched darkness? What were you thinking?
I'm sorry, we got captured by murderous lunatics.
I thought you were dead, you ass! Both of you!
We're all safe, Roland. That's what matters.
I was just overwhelmed. Doesn't matter.
I'm sorry. We should have been here.
No, it's not your fault. I shouldn't have shouted. I'm sorry.
Thank you for saving me. And the two idiots.
Humble too? Imagine that.
She has no cause to be humble. She brought us back together. A task I failed miserably at.
You went out of your way to help us. It's only right you get something in return. Here. I hope it helps.
And for that, you get 465 gold. Roland is an easy character to dislike as well, but at least he has a redemption arc. And now the last is Alfira, and the most important. So if you're on the same page as Ostamura with the underwhelming gift comments, this is where everything gets made up for.
You're here! You're all right! How?
We're two Tiefling queens, remember? I couldn't leave my favorite bard without her partner in crime. I did have some help from an old friend, though.
How did you do it?
Fingers crossed I'll hear it someday. You should have seen her. She was brave, but also terrifying. In a good way.
I never thought I'd see... well, anyone again. Thank you. 1,000 times, thank you. One last favor. Take this off my hands. It suits you better.
So, it seems like Alfira got all of the rewards. And nobody else got any. Alfira gives you obviously had to go through a lot to get to this point. But Alfira gives you one of the most useful pieces of end game gear in the entire game. And that is the Potent Robe. Your cantrips deal additional damage equal to your charisma modifier. This is especially useful for your warlocks and Eldritch Blast, because every beam deals additional damage equal to your charisma modifier. So it's an incredibly powerful piece of gear for your Eldritch Blast builds that you're putting together. Then also at the beginning of the wearer's turn, the robe activates, granting them temporary hit points equal to their charisma modifier. Now that says every turn, and it means that. So if you get those temporary points removed through damage during the enemy's turn at the start of your turn, it brings them back again. It doesn't heal up the additional damage you took outside of those temporary hit points, but it grants you an additional set of temporary hit points every turn. Armor class +1 for a piece of clothing, that's just the cherry on top of the sundae here. Everything else about this robe is incredibly powerful. And like I say, it is end game equipment for some of your critical hit Eldritch Blast builds. And we've seen how potent that is with Will in the build that we have set up in our other playthroughs. So we will certainly be doing the same thing with him here. The rest of the stuff, you're going to get some really decent spells out of this. The rest of this is random, so you can actually get up to 10 items. There will be a 10th item down here below it. We only got 9 here, but beggars can't be choosers. And now, let's go, because Wulbren is now sitting here at the table. Let's go talk to Barkus.
Is anyone keeping an eye on those children from Eldoret?
Ah, there you are. Everyone seems to be quite a flutter. Do you know why? You did? But that means... Wulbren! Wulbren! Where is he?
We'll rest here, and then we leave for Baldur's Gate.
Ah!
Not my fault. The air is heavy. Deadly. Too much.
Smiling at
Too dangerous.
Wulbren!
I heard you might be about. How the devil did you get stuck here, Barkus?
I'm not stuck. I came to find you, of course.
Why would you do a foolish thing like that? Really, Barkus?
Unfortunately for me, you're my friend. Rescuing you from mortal peril is my right.
But you didn't rescue me, did you? I rescued myself, with the aid of this... helper.
Ah, it's you. I should have guessed. Thank you very much for your help finding Wulbren.
You don't belong here, Barkus. As soon as the way is clear, pack up and head to Baldur's Gate.
But... Wulbren... The rune powder... We need to discuss what you're going to...
I said go home!
Please, that isn't necessary.
Indeed. Neither of you has any clue what's at stake. And why should you? It's Iron Hand gnome business. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a great deal to do.
Well, there we have it. Wulbren is safe and sound. Thanks to you. I owe you a great deal. The brilliant retort, for starters. Here you are. As promised, I give you the brilliant retort. Now, I believe our business is well and truly concluded. One and the same. You don't know him, though. This is just his way. Well, perhaps Wulbren is right. Perhaps I ought to return to Baldur's Gate. Oh, that's all right. I'm a patient fellow. I'm sure you'll clear a path for everyone soon enough.
And for that, you get the brilliant retort. It's just a smoke powder bomb. Is all it is.
We'll leave soon.
It does have a blinding effect that goes along with it, which is different from others. So, yeah, I mean, Barkus is not an equal partner, it seems, in the Iron Hand Gnomes here. Wulbren treats him more like the annoying little brother, or the last person picked at recess. So Wulbren is an easy character to dislike. However, I can also see Wulbren's side of things. In that Wulbren is a soldier. He's a fighter. He's more in this aspect more like a freedom fighter or a revolutionary. And he is focused solely on that. His entire life is devoted to that. and distractions, or people who are, in his opinion, not able to carry their full weight like he is, are going to be looked down upon. And unfortunately, that is Barcus's role in this so far. But yes, he is an insufferable ass, and it's hard to look past these aspects of him here. But at the end of the day, again, he's fighting for what he believes in, and he's going to be rude to everybody else around him who's not able to help further that goal. So, again, before we do this next thing, just in case, I don't expect this is going to go wrong. Okay, now before you do what I'm about to do, make sure that you have gotten at least to this point, where you have gotten all the rewards for rescuing the Tieflings and all of that sort of stuff. I've tested this extensively. I don't expect anything is going to go wrong, but if it does, again, you want to be at a point where you've gotten the most out of where you are, and that's because we're going to do something that I said we weren't going to do, and that is we are going to go talk to Isobel. Now, when the patch 7 release notes came out, there was a section in it that I wasn't entirely sure what it meant. And that section said that if you cast silence on the center of Isobel's room, Barcus will no longer return after the Moonrise assault to finish the job with Isobel. And I didn't know what that meant. I started experimenting with casting silence on the room to find out what it did, and I found a very interesting interaction that goes along with this. Now, first, and then I went to, well, let's talk about this first, because there's a problem with casting silence here that I very quickly found out in my testing during this. The first is that directly underneath Isobel's room, which is right up here, is the room that has the flaming fist in it. Now, silence, which we are going to bring back in here, is unfortunately a spell in which if you cast it on non-hostile entities, it will anger them. Now, silence also has a radius that is much bigger than the radius that it shows in the outline of it when you cast it. So if you cast silence on the floor upstairs, some of that will overlap the 3 flaming fists down here, and it will even overlap Halsin, and everybody down here will go hostile towards you. So I experimented with different ways to cast it. Now, Counselor Floric is not here. You want to make sure that you've talked to Counselor Floric already, and Counselor Floric is not standing here, because Counselor Floric is almost directly underneath the doorway to the center of Isobel's room. So the way that I found to do this doesn't necessarily impact her either, but it makes it easier if she's not there, and she will leave as soon as you talk to her. So then it became an issue of, well, how do I cast silence on this room without angering everybody in the room? It's obvious that people have done it, because this is mentioned in the patch notes. So what's the deal? So I would go into Isobel's room,
Put my hands on everything.
And I tried looking up and like casting it up in the rafters and that sort of stuff. Or I cast it high up on the wall over here. And that would work as long as Floric is already gone. If Floric was there, she would go hostile, then everybody in the room would go hostile. So then I got to realizing that we can get on the roof.
Let's try this way.
This is centered directly over the center of her room. Okay. Now I'm going to quick save here. I have cast this 50 times. Not once has it ever triggered anybody down in that room below. My first fear was that silence is like Hunger of Hadar and stuff like that, where even if they cast it above you and you're physically not inside the outline of it, you're still technically in it, because verticality seems to have been removed from some of those spells, and it's like a cylinder of infinite height. It's not a globe or an orb. Silence doesn't seem to work like that. So, like I say, I've cast this a bunch of times, and nobody's gotten angry. If they get angry here, I want to make sure I've got a save here. But we're going to cast silence right here on the top of this. And you'll know instantly whether or not this is gone correctly or not. Okay. Looks like it has. Now, if you walk into this room and you're silenced in the middle of the room, it's placed correctly, and it's not far enough down to anger anybody. So let's go talk to Isobel.
Listen.
Now, you can only have this conversation when you are not silenced. So you need to make sure that this balcony is not inside the silence orb when you cast it.
I didn't realize I had an audience. The true soul who's going to save us all. I'm Isobel. Pleased to meet you. We've been waiting, hoping against hope, for someone like you. Free from the Absolute's influence, yet able to walk among cultists. It's almost too good to be true. But I'd be a poor cleric indeed not to avail of a blessing when I see one. Let me guess. Jaheira has sent you to beg a protection spell off her favorite cleric.
The blessing falls uneasily over your tainted body. You can't help but dream. To kill her would destroy all of last light. You yearn for it so deeply.
Perfect. It'll make you immune to the lesser effects of the Shadow Curse, which will get you closer to the towers. But there are places it won't help. Places where the curse is darker, stronger. The cultists are able to traverse even the deepest shadows, though. I don't know how. The Harpers are trying to figure it out.
Now, you notice that you've walked back into the room now, but the conversation is still happening because it started in the cutscene outside of the room, but we're all technically silenced right now.
You have? Well, forgive me for gilding the lily. I suppose if Jaheira hasn't gone tearing into the night, there's work to be done there yet. I wish you luck. The very best of it. Ketheric is a frightening man, but you have something he doesn't. Allies worth having. While you're busy in the towers, I'll keep the people here safe. If you find a way in, we'll come to your aid. Until then, go well. Be safe. And if you should meet Ketheric Thorm, be careful.
Marcus is not here.
What's next, I wonder?
At least things have stayed
Now,
interesting.
after finding this out, I went online and did some researching, and I found a couple of forum posts and a couple of YouTube videos about it. It turns out that they've dug into the code of the game and found out that the trigger for Marcus spawning is the end of the conversation with Isobel. However, if Isobel has the silence tag, she is technically not able to have the conversation. Therefore, the conversation can't end, and as such, Marcus cannot spawn in the room. Now, evidently this was a thing back before patch 6, and then, or before patch 5, I can't remember which. And people used to be able to do that. I had never heard of this before I saw the patch notes for patch 7. But what would happen is that after the Moonrise Assault, you would come back here and find out that Isobel is dead. Her body would be laying on the ground here in her room, as if Marcus came back somehow to finish her off or something. And that's what the patch notes referenced. And it gave me just enough of a hint to start experimenting with it, and then after I was done, I found some really great posts on the forum about it. And like I say, a couple of content creators have put out a couple of YouTube videos about it, which further refined the process here, or further refined the explanation. I was not the first one to find this, obviously. I figured this part out on my own because of the patch notes. However, one of those content creators put out a video
What happened to you?
after patch 7 that explains something that I am extraordinarily interested in taking a look at. And again, it deals with Isobel, Aelin, and Shadowheart. And I'm going to do a bunch of testing on this to see if it works fully before I do it in honor mode. But if it does, it's going to solve a big issue that I'm going to have with my Dark Urge playthrough and how I want to build Shadowheart. So for now, and when we get to that point, I will certainly give them all credit because of where I learned it from. But yeah, this is a thing. So if you want to talk to Isobel and get the blessing here and continue on with the conversations with Jaheira about her, you can do it without spawning Marcus. If, however, you do it wrong and Marcus spawns, make sure you have somebody down here that's able to take care of the one down here that will go after Alfira. Otherwise, you will not be able to rescue all the Tieflings, and you won't be able to get that achievement. And that's why I put Astarion down here, so that he could intercept the winged horror that's going to come down here, and I could fight with everybody else inside this room. But yeah, there is a way to do it, and the patch notes kind of brought it to light, no pun intended, in the last light in, about how to do it. So I'm glad we were able to get that figured out. So now something else that I want to do.
It'll be quiet in the city. We'll have a little house.
Is that blood?
Maybe a garden.
and that is the On the Greater Healing Potion book here on top of this. If you click on it to read it, you can't reach it. Okay. Now, I've talked about this before, how if you can't reach an item, you can possibly throw it. You can reach this book with the throw command. However, whenever you pick a spot for it to land, you are going to lose attitude with everybody else around here. They don't like you evidently throwing stuff around inside Last Light. So what I'm going to do is step all the way out here. And you have to do this somewhat fast. Just because there is a turn limit. I'm going to cast Mage Hand.
Making me antsy.
Got to have a plan.
I'm going to decouple it. I'm going to select the Mage Hand.
Be patient. That chance will come. Until then,
Now I'm going to have the Mage Hand
keep wary.
right click and throw the book. You see the attitude? But now you can dismiss the Mage Hand. That attitude doesn't affect your character.
At the ready.
Okay. So what that will do is it'll, again, decrease the attitude, but that means you will have to, if you want to keep trading with Barkus, you'll have to get that 5 attitude back. You have to donate more gold to him. Same thing with Mattis and that sort of stuff. Now the book is laying down here on the ground, and you can just walk up and read it. And that's going to give you the recipe for the potion. Okay. So now we have a few things that we can do. Last Light is pretty much finished for us at this point. I think there's one more conversation we can have with Jaheira.
The shadows haven't consumed you. Good.
Okay, no, not yet. So Last Light, like I said, is pretty much finished for us until we get to the Waking Arcola quest, which again means we have to do something inside Rythwin Town. We have some stuff that we can do inside of Moonrise Towers. We haven't really explored all of Moonrise and the surroundings. We have gone into some rooms of Moonrise, but what I would prefer to do is to kind of finish up exploring all of the ground floor and the basement in the prisons, because there's one more area here that we can go to inside Moonrise Towers today that should take us to the end of today's episode. So first, I want to head in here and I want to look at a couple of things.
I was a farrier in Desarin Valley.
I think we had said we're finished up with Lantar.
The Absolute's war drums beat loud in your chest. How may
Because
I
yes, he still has the Halberd of Vigilance, that's fine. We'll actually pick up the Arrow of Many Targets. Nothing else. I'm looking for a scimitar. He doesn't have it. Ooh. Okay. We're going to pick this up. Okay, we're going to pick up the Trident +1. This is a thrown weapon. It's a 1d8 thrown weapon as well. So we're going to pick it up. That's going to be Karlach's I'm not yet in combat thrown weapon instead of the Unseen Menace.
slaughter well?
And then Roa, again, I don't think Roa has it either.
Many thoughts,
We're encumbered.
one mind.
Yeah.
Ever at your service.
And there's the javelin. The javelin is a 1d6 thrown weapon. That's why the trident is better. I just wasn't expecting to see it. Okay. So yeah, well, this is... Roa doesn't have it either, so that means I know where it is.
So.
We're among friends.
I wouldn't have it.
And
Friendly, you ask me.
let's get rid of this. That should move me back down. It does.
Why not join this house?
Okay, we haven't talked to Mig yet. And we want to have... You don't have to pass this check, but...
Let's get on with it.
All's well that ends. Not as bad as it could have.
Hush! Meat sounds above. Here.
For a moment, you do hear it. Flesh sliding on stone, like a living being extending through the walls.
Big! In walls above! Maybe whole tower. Loudest near kitchen. But Mig banned. Not allowed to pet nose. You find meat? You share.
Okay. And that will actually add a new marker to your map for suspicious sounds. This marker here is part of two markers that were placed when we read the book in the Masons Guild talking about the construction of Moonrise Towers. There's a hidden treasure here, and there's a hidden treasure somewhere where we're about to go. Now, these suspicious sounds here...
Very well.
lead you over here, and to get there you take the ladder up. Now unfortunately the ladder into the rafters, this is it's a restricted area, quote unquote. If you go up the ladder, you're going to get questioned about it, and they're going to want to make you leave. Now it's kind of bugged in that when you're up here they can't technically kick you out up here, so it's a little bit strange. Like I say, it's just a little weird. So once you get up here though, at the top of this, you're going to find some tentacles coming out through a wall up there, and you can interact with them, and you'll get a conversation with the Elder Brain. And because you are the Dark Urge, you will have an additional dialogue option that goes along with it. However, having that conversation comes with a downside, and that downside is that you get a debuff called Dislocated Shoulder, because you basically stick your arm through the wall, these tentacles grab it and yank you through the wall, and it dislocates your shoulder. That dislocated shoulder lasts until long rest, and it gives you disadvantage on all your attack rolls. So it's kind of a pain in the butt to deal with when you're down there, and I would prefer not to deal with that. So there is another way in there, and we've already done this encounter here with the gnolls in here, but if we come in here,
Give it a shot.
There's a perception check to make.
Slimy seems to be dripping from the rafters above.
And that lets you know that you need to go into the rafters above, and that's where these suspicious sounds are coming from. We're not going to go do that, though. We're going to go back to the prisons. Or to the prison. I didn't want to do that, but thankfully it worked out. I didn't want to walk through by Raj yet, but it didn't bring me into... I have to talk to her, which is good. Because you saw what that looked like. It was pink, it was tentacly, it was slimy. And we've seen that before. And I told you we were going to come back here. And you can see that same type of stuff here, right? This is another way into the same spot we're going, and this will avoid the dislocated shoulder debuff. However, you have to make sure that you have somebody who can cast Featherfall on you. And you heard that noise. We've heard that noise before. If you go all the way back to Act 1 in the Underdark, you have heard that noise before from an enemy. And that is to give you a hint about what you're going to be encountering down here. First, I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to come back and loot all of these bodies and all of that sort of stuff off stream, so you don't have to see me walking around picking all that stuff up. So here, we're going to cast Featherfall. It's a ritual spell, so it doesn't need a spell slot. And now I can jump down here.
Anelithid Oubliette, right beneath the towers.
What the hell is this place?
A colony must be close. That must be where the tadpoles are coming from.
Okay, and now we are in the Oubliette. So this is kind of a little sub-area here. And very limited exploration space, as you can see here. There are some, but it is connected to a much bigger area. Okay, we just can't explore anything except this kind of little area that we're in. Now, the important things down here are there are these viscera spots on the ground that you can click on and pick things out of. They're fairly well hidden. You have to go looking around for them.
Shadows.
But there's one in particular here that has a harp-shaped pin in it. You do not need to pick this up here. If you miss it, it's not that big a deal. You can find a couple of these later on in Act 3. But this is the first place to pick one up, and it is used in Act 3.
Still breathing.
Okay, so now here, Yellow Christ is not going to be able to talk to us.
Silent.
Okay, but it does get Speak with the Dead active.
No traps, please.
Okay, and again, another Mind Flayer Parasite. Takes us up to 3 and some more plate armor. Always nice to have.
Light on my feet.
And then up here you have a membrane. Now we have a body we can talk to.
The corpse regards you lifelessly.
So absolute, ascending. Left flesh, joined with her, eternally. Discarded, devoured. The absolute chamber. Paradise.
So it seems that the word ascended is just not great in most categories in this game. If you ascend here, the absolute kills you. If you ascend with Blacketh kills you. If you ascend with Cazador, that's obviously the only one where it tends to work out. If you think that sacrificing tens of thousands of or thousands of innocent souls is working out, at the end of the day, the word ascension just has some bad things here. But there is a funny dialogue option here.
The corpse remains silent. That was more of a comment than a question, really.
And that's why I click on it. You don't learn anything else from it, but it is kind of funny.
The corpse remains silent. It does not know. The spell's power wanes. You can ask no more questions.
Okay, and a smoke powder bomb. Very, very nice. Actually, I want those two. Another membrane here. Okay, and that's going to bring you back out here into this main spot where you were. Now here, and I think you can actually, if you see him, you can click on him. There's an intellect devourer back there, and then there's somebody talking. Yep, right there. That is Chop. And you will see Chop much later on in Act 3 when we're able to access this whole area on the other side of this window. We just can't access it right now. But like I say, it's part of a much bigger area in the game.
Something's alive down here. I'm not sure I want to meet it.
Hey, that's something that's alive down here. Again, we heard the noise again. I believe I'm safe all the way up to here or so. I'm going to stay here and just wait. Because I do want to time this. I'm going to try and one-turn this. But to do that, I have to have impeccable timing. Because there are hook horrors. He's going to turn again. Okay, so it went up to about here. And there's not just one, there's two. There's a second one that's patrolling farther up here, and he will come down and be over here. So I'm going to wait for this one to come down here again and turn, and as soon as it does, I'm going to follow it up here.
Let's be on my way.
There's the other one. Not worried about the survival check. That gets me a surprise round. Okay, so Hex is applied. And then I'll take Karlak next.
I'm too tall for this.
Ought to do it.
I shouldn't have to frenzy here.
Stepping softly. That's curious.
There you can see the survival check. There's just a dirt mound. Let's get Astarion with better placement here. No, actually that is the best placement. Okay. Oh, this should kill here. Can use one bonus action to dash.
Yes, here.
Okay. Shadowheart, I'm going to equip the Shining Staver of Skulls. Because this attack is going to land. And I want to inflict as many stacks of Radiant Orb as I can with Shadowheart. Again, I don't think it's going to matter. Because he's not going to make it out of the next turn. Okay, so he's got 4 stacks of Radiating Orb and 2 of Reverberation.
Moving. Well, so much for peace.
So for me, let's use the rest of my movement
Light on my feet.
to get as far this way as we can.
Oh my word.
Karlak, we're going to get into position.
Go for the throat.
And Astarion's done. Okay, so Astarion should be able to finish it off here with his regular attack. So, main hand, bonus, main hand. Didn't even need the next bonus. Okay.
Anything of use?
So the Hookor hooks are used for elixirs of vigilance. You absolutely want to pick up as many of these as you can possibly find, because elixirs of vigilance in the end game are so incredibly important.
Can't slow down.
It's basically a free alert feat.
What's the story? Have a lot on my mind. And, well, in it. Have I been this way before?
And let me make sure. Haven't been here in a while. Okay, so yeah, that's all there is. Okay. Just making sure that there wasn't something I was missing. Because here is your exit. And this puts you in the tunnels
Stink.
back
That place might never wash
behind
out.
the prison.
I'm so tired.
And
How do
we've
people
explored
do this
these a
all
little
day?
bit.
This way. That might be worth it.
Oh, I forgot the dirt mound down there. And go back down real quick.
Let's see.
Because this is a climbable entrance here. So there are 3 ways into the Oubliette. Got to click on this. In here, Arrow Beast Lane's nice, and the Arrow of Arcane Interference is really nice. Especially in the endgame and honor mode, these become incredibly useful. It's a ranged silence spell without silence, without the spell. And you can do these both reactively and proactively. Reactively, if they've already cast a spell and they're concentrating on it, this will break their concentration. And that's a reactive way to use it. A proactive way is if you want to keep them from casting a spell in the first place, you can hit them with this and it will silence them. Okay, so very, very useful for your melee attackers to be able to use silence in the endgame. And it becomes incredibly useful in honor mode to be able to eliminate spellcasters and the damage they can do. Especially with me having ranged flourish, or slashing flourished ranged, being able to attack 2 different targets makes those incredibly useful. Okay, so now we're going to make our way kind of around the corner and open this up. And you can kind of orient yourself as to where we are. There's nothing out here. It's all chasm. Nothing hidden or special out here. But now you can see where we are. We're down at the very end of the walkway in the prisons.
Let's hope for gold.
And here you recognize where we are. This comes back through Barcus's cell. And here is the boat. Okay, now I said there was another thing down here. Again, this was opened up as part of reading the book. And everybody just wants to fail their survival check.
No one stopped me yet. Another step forward.
Don't touch me.
Nothing really. The potion's random, and the gold number is random as well. But there is the first stash. Now again, I'm gonna come down here and loot all these boxes, pick up all these remaining weapons that are left laying around.
Certainly.
I'll just pick this one up so I don't have to come back and search this entire area. And then this leads you into the back of the Tiefling cell. And again, there's trash and stuff all through this prison area, which I am going to loot. Now we're going to head back upstairs. Actually, we're going to head outside. Because there's one more hidden stash out here that we want to explore. before we finish up today. And as part of that, I'm going to take kind of a tour around the outside of Moonrise. We went and explored the docks. Okay, so we saw that. So here there are some routes that go up that can take you into another area that we don't want to get into right now. This is an area that Lord Henry was talking about a little bit ago with his comment. With an insight check with Zarel. We are not talking to Zarel yet. That is something we are going to do next week. But there's a whole second floor here of Moonrise Towers for us to go take a look at. And yes, like Lord Henry mentioned, there's a specific check that you need to do to get access to more inventory from Lantarv that we will take a look at later. We can't afford any of those things right now anyway. So for now, we're not too worried about it. This again takes us into the kitchens where we were. Now all of this stuff in here it's marked as steel, but it is lootable. The door's closed. You can close this door here and you can loot everything. Now none of this is marked as steel. Everything in here is, but there's nobody around to see it. So I will loot all of this stuff again off stream.
What are we here?
But heading out the back, I'm going to make sure that the door is closed, because I don't want to forget it. And again, more stuff that you can loot out here, which I will do all off stream. And here you get to see Steelclaw. Now there's a unique interaction here with, and cats just love to plop over and sleep whenever they want. Trust me, my two cats do that all the time. There's another interaction with Steelclaw that is unique to the Dark Urge. Very similar to dealing with the squirrel in the Grove. You have an interaction here with Steelclaw.
I have something to ask.
Yours is a face I shred in my dreams. One who kicked the steel claw as if I were some stray. I am a champion hunter. When I lick my pelt, I taste blood.
Fortunately for you, the slithering vermin I hunt has my attention. For now.
The Deathwalker passed through here before. I know your scent. All were silent before you, but I dared to snarl. You skulked like you owned the place, trespassing on my domain.
Okay. Now, if you click on the first two here, or on the first one, you will delve into your memories trying to find out where you know Steelclaw from. When you wake up, Steelclaw will be dead. Not just dead, but murdered, dissected, ripped apart, laying here on the ground. Much like when you kick the squirrel into the tree and kill it in the Grove as the Dark Urge, you can do similar things here with Steelclaw, and that's what this first one will do. So we're not going to do that. I like cats, and Steelclaw is just being Steelclaw.
I will split and burst their every skin.
I braved lapping waters and leaking ships to find this prey. I butchered many, and will butcher many more. But this one I toy with. I slice, I tear, and when the time is right, I will bite its head off and bathe in its innards.
Okay. Steelclaw's a hunter, which my male cat is too. Not just a hunter, but a killer. And if I let him, he would do the same thing. It's talking about a tadpole, and they gave you a hint there. Steelclaw braved lapping waters and leaky ships to find this tadpole. This is a hint that leads you back out to the docks where you can find more tadpoles. Okay, so it's just kind of a hint to lead you back there. But we are the Dark Urge.
Do not mock me, braggart. Not every murderer has opposable thumbs. We cannot all create. I can only destroy!
Now I must return to my prey. It has been too long since it felt the bite of fear.
Okay, and its prey is over here. It's a Mind Flayer tadpole. It is dead. And yeah, you get the mutual respect inspiration there. Now, one killer to another. Don't mess with it, or else Steelclaw will go hostile. Okay, it's dead. It doesn't add to your number or anything like that anyway. We're going to continue coming around here, and you can again see the marker.
This is the spot that's marked on that map. Something good here, I hope.
And again, more arrows. And these are random. And now we're back in here with Mig.
You loud, clumsy.
And you can ask her about the meat sounds if you want. We're not going to go through that whole marker up there because, well, I mean, maybe I can, just to illustrate it to you, but I'm going to do it before I need to take a long rest, which is not right now. Okay. So we will climb up there and go look at that marker just to show it to you. It's a pretty interesting cutscene and conversation, but again, we're not going to do it now. So what I'm going to do here is drop a save. Off stream, I'm going to go through the prison. I'm going to loot everything out of it. I am then going to go through the first floor here because we've been through all of the rooms. There's one encounter here on the first floor we have not had, which we are going to do at the start of next week, and that is with Araj. But I will go through all of the rooms here and pick up everything that is stealable or is not marked as steal that I can pick up and carry. And again, we'll do very similar to what we did last week. We'll start off by just selling all of our trash and seeing where we end up. We're at 3,445 gold. The goal is to be at 5,000. Now, I haven't really decided if I'm going to do this or not. But I want to leave the option open. So don't sell all of your, don't buy everything that you possibly can at this point. You're trying to get to 5,000 gold. It's hard to do it, but I think even with the stuff that I've bought that had direct increases in my combat power, I think we're going to be okay getting there. And that's the magic number for something that we're going to be dealing with next week. Now again, I'm not promising you I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a look at it because it's honor mode and I want to kind of take a look at it and see how doable it's going to be. But to do that particular trick, you need 5,000 gold. So that's why we're saving it up a little bit. So as always, thank you all for all of the comments in the chat today. I love interacting with all of you. Thank you very much for being here. Because, as always, without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jorval saying, until next time, fare thee well.